What the hey? We'll do it live. Why not? And there is this. Well, Jose Garcia from Lumina Vhox should be on. He's not here yet. I wanted to start on time. Yeah, does it start in a couple of minutes? Yeah. Okay, it just got now. Now. He'll be in here. Yeah. Start in a couple minutes or in an hour. Now. Starts now. Shadowhawk's not here yet. He's, I haven't checked my messages with Shadowhawk, but it's good to see everyone. Everyone? Is anyone there? Is there anybody out there? Counter said 1. Now it says 0. So you can't trust that thing. You can't trust that thing at all. Yeah, we have Jose Garcia today talking Lumina Vhox. Very interested in that. I think we'll have him for about an hour. Set up with Pat Broderick Sunday. Should be Sunday. Let me double check that just to make sure that everything's copacetic on that end. Let's see. I have to go to Gmail. Yes. And just see if there's any other affirming messages there. Looking forward to talking with Pat. Yeah. Okay. Everything should be set up for Sunday, hopefully, to have Pat Broderick on. And here's the man, the myth, and the legend, Shadowhawk.
Well, hello. How are you doing, Rex?
Oh, good. Jose says he'll be here in 5 minutes. He just finished teaching a class. So let me get back to my PC and I'll be there in 5 minutes. I think we can kill 5 minutes, slay five minutes.
Oh, I imagine.
Before Jose comes in. Yeah, I set Pat Broderick up for Sunday. Hopefully Mike will, be able to join us. I hope so. Get the whole dynamic duo, here.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, talking about Bronze Star, a weird Western with werewolves. I have seen a werewolf.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you're still looking in the future. You're still looking in the future of possibly backing that one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Because you said I've about reached my limit. I didn't know.
Yeah, I've got a few things I want to back still. Like said, I got the Wreck Planet box that I still got, or not, Red Extermination, the new one. I had to get the box set from Ethan still. And there's a couple other campaigns I've been wanting to back, and there's a couple of commissions that I got out that I got to get caught up with. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's looking like I'm gonna be slimming down on backings here.
I think that's. I mean, look, it's grown exponentially. There's more people coming out of the woodwork, like myself, that are coming out with their projects, and I mean, you look out there, it's grown since just being able to back everything, which I'm sure there was a book or two you might have missed that might have went off your radar, but you did pretty well on capturing the early CG days, you know.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I got pretty. I mean, there was a few that I didn't back just because they weren't up my alley or whatever.
right.
But I mean, in the first 3 years or so, man, I was really trying to back as many people as I could.
Huh. Sounds like a reoccurrence of the image years, first three
A
years.
little bit.
Yeah. Because you bought everything the first 3 years the image came out. Give me everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my MO.
And you were reading, all I'm saying is save a little for Devil Flyer. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, don't forget Devil Flyer. Devil Flyer is going to be coming out here pretty soon. The
Right.
prequel. Excited about that. Have some T's to cross and dots to I, or I's to dot, dots to I.
Well, I also got to worry about putting a little bit of money away for the art contest and stuff too. So
Right, right, right. Bloody well right. I had Amanda B contact me about that because we had asked her to be a judge.
Mhm.
And she had ear surgery and couldn't do it, about a month ago. And I just did a follow up with her recently, the other day, and said, "How's your ear after surgery?" And it's not back to 100%, but it's doing well. So
Oh,
by the
good.
time it rolls around, she'll be ready, I think, as long as
Okay.
she doesn't
Cool.
have a surgery on another ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because she couldn't put her whatever in her ears at that time to broadcast. So,
Oh,
uh,
right. Right. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully Amanda B's been lurking and paying attention to what we're doing over here. I don't know. She just was in for a bit and then kind of disappeared on us,
Yeah.
on
Well,
to greener pastures, maybe. I don't know.
Amanda gets around quite a bit. She's on a lot of streams.
Yeah, I realize that. Not in any of our streams lately. I'm just saying. Right?
But
Have you seen Amanda B
maybe
lately?
maybe not lately, but I've seen
Yeah,
her here.
not lately. Not ever.
No, I've seen her here before.
I've seen her here before, but it was like yeah, that was before the big Vic King flare up. And then when that happened, I didn't see her much, if hardly in at all. So I hope that didn't, drive her off. To a certain degree.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, otherwise she'd say, "No, I don't want to be a judge," or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we are going to have a giveaway contest, and we'll have to work out the details of that. Hey, I got paid today
Hey,
in the
all
mail.
right.
Yeah.
So wait, you got your direct deposit straightened out?
No, I got my check.
Well,
I was
at least
expecting
they're
it
getting them
Monday,
to you
but
on time.
now they're kind of getting used to me receiving a check, so now it's Friday. Which
Oh,
really
okay.
technically the day is Thursday that we get paid on, so I got paid next day. But you can have access to the money at midnight Wednesday, which is, it's going to be in there right at the stroke of 12:01,
Right.
on Thursday. So you might as well call it the end of Wednesday. That sounds like a good title for a book. The End of Wednesday. The main character is called Wednesday. Write that down, Rex. Trademark that. Copyright. I pay
Trademark.
attention to what I say, and what I say is often wrong. What was wild today when I woke up, Shadowhawk, I usually have the ideas swirling around in my head, right?
Yeah.
It was all about hockey's project.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I told him I had a great story. Now I have several great stories for him. Ben Compton in the house saying hello, Rex and Shadowhawk.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
man.
Howdy been?
So Jose will be in here in a moment. He's just delayed. He just got done teaching. He might have thought it was, he was asking if it started in a few minutes or in an hour. But he's in Mexico City, so
Right.
and we've got him for about an hour. He says so. Busy man.
That's good. Hey,
And
hour's good.
speaking of the man, the chupacabra.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Yeah,
Hey,
it looks
Jose.
like a chupacabra icon there.
Yeah, this is one of my characters, older characters. Her name was Bridget. She was kind of like a pirate demon of some sort. So it was really cool. It was way back in the day, but I still have this icon for some reason right now.
Well, Jose, you were teaching. What do you teach?
We did teach. So I'm pretty much an art mentor right now.
Okay.
So I just finished my class like 5 minutes ago. So I was giving feedback to my students. So what I pretty much do is that I was actually teaching art when I was on DreamWorks, working at DreamWorks TV. Um, I was one of the guys who actually just review your portfolio and give you tips so you can if you're a student or if you're someone who wants to work in the in the industry. I was one of those guys that pretty much review your portfolio, see your weak points, see what you were actually how was your level of drawing before joining any project. And I my job was to bring you to the level of the project, right? So I have to teach everything ever since basic drawing, perspective, composition, animation, storyboard, everything. So I pretty much teach everything art
Now, what
related.
what
Mhm.
what was your background, and when did you get started? As a little kid, I presume.
Yeah, it's, for sure. Yeah, when I was little, when I was pretty much getting into all this comics and stuff, I live in Mexico, so we didn't have comics as in as much places as in the US, but
Right.
we still had the newsstands, right? So in the newsstands, we didn't have floppies, but in Mexico, we had a culture of paperbacks, right? So when I was growing up, we had instead of having like floppies for the death of Superman or some of that stuff, you usually have like this trade with at least 18 floppies. So they were really big books.
Yeah.
And yeah, and those were pretty cool. They were kind of like omnibuses right now,
Yeah.
a little bit. Well, not as thick, but you were sold like these huge arcs, right? So we had the Batfall, the Foul, yes, how was it called? The Batman Dark Knight Fall, or
Oh,
when
yeah.
Bane break his back. I don't know how it's called in English, but yeah, that one. We had the Death of Superman. We had all of the Green Lantern stuff. So pretty much my dad really loved to draw, but he was a doctor, so he wasn't allowed as much. So he really liked to buy for me and my brother. I have an older brother, and he draws too. And he usually brought all the comics into the house, which was really cool. And when he brought all the stuff, he it felt like he actually wanted to pass on his dream to us. Like he wanted to be an artist, but he couldn't because of his generation. He had to have a degree. He had to have a regular job to have a regular a regular life, a regular family.
Uh-huh.
But all that stuff. He really encouraged us to keep on drawing, to make music. He was a great. He was great with the guitar. He taught us how to play guitar. He taught us how to play drums. He was a pretty great singer. So he did all on his spare time. While he was not being a doctor, and but he encourages from a very early age to actually start developing our artistic skills, which I really appreciate.
Now, do you have a family yourself?
Yeah, right now I pretty much I just had my first baby. I have a little baby girl just last year.
Congratulations.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot. It's pretty fun. Right now I'm 34, 35, 34.
My
I'm
child just had a baby, so I'm a grandfather again.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, my mom was actually really, really excited to become a grandmother because, with this generation, with my generation, people seem like they don't want to actually have kids. So,
Right.
yeah, so it makes it much more exciting, right?
It's a
So,
big responsibility, isn't it?
yeah, it
Fatherhood.
is.
Yeah.
I've been really loving it, to be honest. It makes me. I never understood until until I actually lived it. But I've seen a lot of artists, a lot of people around me, which are like very irresponsible. But when they have their first child, like something clicks on their head, and like they actually like they automatically become like super. Mindful of their time. They start managing their work like better. They start behaving better like as a person.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I have this too, in which I have to reassess all my priorities. And sorry, and I started to be even faster while drawing. I started to do a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that which I thought that it was like not worth my time, like going to the groceries, like buying getting real food and all that stuff. I started doing all that all that stuff ever since the baby ever since we got the baby, so it's pretty cool.
You mentioned you worked at DreamWorks.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's the one that makes the movies, right? Animated and live action, I guess. Or
That's it. Yep. DreamWorks was the one who makes How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, whenever I was like growing up, I tried comics. I love comics.
Hey,
My
Lorenzo.
end goal is comics. What's up, Lorenzo? Hi. So pretty much what I like about doing art is my end goal is always making comics. It's telling my own stories. But when I was growing up, I mean, one of the things that actually launched me to make art was finding out about this really cool guy who draw all these X-Men books, and I never noticed that. That comics were drawn by artists, right? So there was this really standish of guy who stands who was just very contrasting to everyone else. He stood up in front of everyone else, and his
Hello.
name was Joe Madureira. And Joe Madureira, his art was really, really impressive. That I have to look, who the hell is this guy? And I actually understand that people are drawing comics. And later on, following all that 2000 comic book era, Humberto Ramos, Chris Bacalo, Jeff Scott Campbell, all those guys with the cliffhanger imprint.
Right.
I realized that all of them kind of have this manga and this animation kind of influences. So I started asking Humberto Ramos, he's very big on Spider-Man, and he's from my country, so it's pretty easy to catch Humberto here at a con, like at any time. Like it's pretty easy. You can almost catch him while waiting the bus on the bus. You can actually like kind of see him. It's very easy to spot him. So the thing is that they started to introduce me to other artists from France. On the case of Humberto, he started to introduce me to Carlos Meglia, who is an incredibly talented artist who worked in animation. He worked at Disney, and he started teaching me about Alessandro Barbucci. Barbucci is from Italy. He drew a lot for Disney too, and I started to see all these animated BDs, all these bande dessines that were drawn by these animators. And I actually went to go on the internet and ask them, like, how the hell do they get so good drawing these comics? And they told me, well, we all did animation. We are super quick because while drawing animation, you don't have to you have to draw like at minimum like maybe 300 drawings a day just for something to move. So it's pretty different than comics. So I try to go into to study animation so I can make my comics faster. And because of one of my comics, I ended up on DreamWorks. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was wondering how you did that while living in Mexico.
So I went to San Diego Comic Con, and I brought one of my comics. I did one of my comics called My 8-Bit Story. It was pretty much kind of like a test, a test on how to draw pages and stuff. I did comics before, but nothing really serious, nothing really finished. So for my animation class, I was assigned to do a storyboard. For a short a short for a little animated short, right? So I didn't have enough time at the time to actually 2D animate all that stuff, all that short. So I pretty much brought down all my storyboards and draw them as comic book pages. So I was practicing my storytelling. The whole book is about a girl who travels to her old Game Boy cartridges. So that those were the cartridges I have as a boy. So pretty much, it's this girl traveling through all these games. It really doesn't have a plot or story; it's just a visual narrative about this girl traveling on different parts of this on these games. And yeah, I did the storyboard as comic book pages. I printed it in crowdfunding. So I used Kickstarter like 10 years ago, maybe, and then I printed like 1,000 of those, and whenever I came to San Diego Comic Con as a guest, I was working already with some publishers and stuff. So they give me a badge, like a free badge and stuff. They give me a kind of like this table on small press, and I brought some of my books here to the U.S. And it happens that one of the headhunters from DreamWorks was walking around the con, and that's how you meet a lot of people. And then she brought like 5 of my books, and she brought it to DreamWorks, and people liked it. Next thing I know, she gave me my her card, tell me to pretty much just send in an email. I sent her an email, and within the con, she told me, "Okay, let me connect you to the talent search guys. Send them your portfolio and stuff." And and pretty much after a week after I went to San Diego Comic Con, I have work as an intern at DreamWorks, and that became 6 months of unpaid work on DreamWorks, and then that become 6 years of working on shows like Voltron, Kung Fu Panda, shows like a lot of Netflix shows that I've been working with them, and that work brought me to Cartoon Network, to this. Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Netflix, and I've been working in around the animation industry for 6 or 7 years as of right now.
Now, how do you do that in Mexico? Did you come up to the United States and stay for a while and work, or?
No, my dream when I was younger was pretty much going to California and live, the punk rock warp tour, the dream going there, becoming animation all day, all night, hanging around with all these people, with all these artists. But at the end of the day, I realized that if I was working freelance from my own house, I was earning. I was earning on dollars instead of pesos, and dollars go a longer way than pesos. So that was pretty cool. So I was earning like 3 to 6 to 10 times as much as my peers in Mexico were earning. So I was earning like 10 times their own salary, and pretty much I had to do like 10 times less the work. So I figured, why not stay here in Mexico and just work freelance? And so for some shows, it's kind of difficult to work like that, because they ask you to be on a studio, like personally working right there. So what I really what I really what I figure is that I could pretty much work as on a studio. Let's say Netflix. For Netflix, you have to be right there in California, right? For some shows, you have to be present right there. So
Hmm.
they ask you for your social security number. I am in Mexico, so I don't really have one U.S. social security number, but there are workarounds, right? So the workarounds are pretty much if you are already friends with some of the producers, with some of the art directors, they usually tell you like, "Hey, man, we're looking for someone to do this job, which I know you're very good at." But it's a shame because in Netflix we don't really can give you like we can give you this job uh, because you aren't here on the studio, you aren't here in California with us. But there's I've heard about this other studio which is working as a freelance, which is working as an outsourcing kind of studio, which they are paying exactly the same that we are paying inside the studio. So it happens that I know the guy who is running this studio. So maybe you should give him a call. So it's pretty much working on the side. On this kind of deals, your name as you're working on a on an outsourcing studio, you pretty much are being left without credits because you have NDAs, right? So because of the NDAs, I cannot put my name on IMDb or something like that, but I'm still getting paid. And to be honest, I don't really care about the credits. I really care about more about getting paid, right?
Yeah, and people get to know you, know your work reputation, and as you say, recommendations, right? And that's probably the most important part is your reputation within the field, isn't it?
Yeah, because it gets you the next job, and pretty much I never entered through the main door per se on the industry, but ever since I work in DreamWorks as an intern, like every single work I have besides that has been on the side, right? I always been paid fair. I always been paid real good money. I've been working on real good projects, but it's always been kind of like. Yeah, not kind of like this reputation on social media where everyone knows what shows are you working on, but I guess the reputation that really matters, which is with the people that actually pay and that actually hire people. So yeah, so it's more kind of like networking, like on the inside and working your way around, which is really cool because I haven't really in the last 7 years. There was never a moment in which I didn't have a job, right? Oh, there's people always calling me, even though my social media is pretty much non-existent. But yeah, but inside, I mean, I can still live all my life, my regular life, even if I'm not on social media, right?
Well, I can't promise you loads of content, but Jose's YouTube uh, connection is down there.
Yeah,
He's got
yeah.
like 3 videos up, but one of them being the Lumina Vhox trailer. But I did subscribe to you,
Thanks
Jose.
a lot.
I know back in the day in the 70s, Mexico, because I have some of the Mexican comics. This isn't one, this is a British, but it was basically like this
Yeah, they were like
oversized
that.
magazine size and
Hmm.
non glossy covers. I don't know if you're too young to know the.
I actually have a lot of those because I bought a long box for one of the newsstands. Whenever the newsstand was disappearing, there was this guy who was selling like everything was comics on his stand. Everything was kind of like westerns and stuff. And one day, like he had to shut down because he was returning to his to his hometown. So pretty much he sold everything, and I got
Uh,
a really long box with all those floppies, which
awesome.
were on newsprint, and they were from Editorial Novaro. Entonces, then Novaro publisher pretty much brought Spider-Man, brought a lot of stuff. I don't know if you know this, but in Mexico, they weren't happy when MJ with Mary Jane and Peter Parker broke when they
Right.
get divorced. So they actually made their own comics made out of cutouts of other comics when the story followed as if nothing has happened, right? Like we really like Mary Jane and Peter Parker to be married,
Yeah.
so I know that the official story they get divorced, but here in Mexico that's bullshit. We make our own comics, we make our own timeline with cutouts of all that
Wow.
stuff, and
Yeah.
there's like 4 or 5 kind of original comics. You can say that were done in Mexico because they didn't want to accept that that Peter and MJ broke up, right?
That's wild. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, that's really wild how they get around that to do that. But I guess it all comes down to the family's very important
Yeah, like our
to the
culture.
readership.
Yeah, our culture is like kind of very different from the US.
Yeah.
Like it's very traditional. Like we have we have very traditional women. Like the role of the male is very traditional. So we are the providers, and what I like right now on these times is that we might be like either 10 or 20 years behind you on the culture. Like there's not a lot of stuff that's coming here. It always have this lag whenever you have like 10 years until third world countries have it. So
Yeah.
in this case, with all the craziness, with all the social culture, all the culture wars, I'm really appreciate that we are like 20 years behind, because that stuff hasn't really hit that hard here in Mexico. So
Yeah, you won't want to watch it when it gets there anyway.
yeah, no, and it's already
when did-
dying. Yeah.
When did newsstands die in Mexico? When
Oh
did
yeah,
they start going away?
that
Like
was
what?
around the 20,000s, I believe, like 20,
Okay.
20, 25. That was on the
2005.
2005. Yeah, 2005 was
Okay.
pretty much like 2005 to 2011.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
2011.
probably
Yeah,
a little bit later than us.
a lot later. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was disappearing in the 80s here.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
Now you could find some newsstand stuff up into the 2000s, but it was rare and far between.
Yeah, no, right here, at least on my way back from school to home, we have at least like 4 or 5 newsstands, and everyone was, gathering around them because it has like, it has comics, it has trading cards, it has they sell like candy, they sell soda, so they were really cool. I mean, there's still some around. There's like maybe 2 or 3 that are still around, but yeah, like they were very popular still on the 2000s, right? Like I came home from school, and I was hanging with my friends, and if we really want something like a candy or a comic, we just pass by, and just next to the news stand there was the arcade. So we were playing video games, and then reading comics, and that's a lot of the childhood of many people in Mexico. So we aren't that far apart
Yeah.
from you guys, but we are like 10 or 20 years lagging behind.
Yeah. Well, that's better than 50, like being in Cuba.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sounds like a fun time, and I did back Lumina Vhox #1. I didn't know that there was Shadowhawk got his Lumina Vhox order in yesterday, volume 1 and 2. He did the catch up here.
Thanks.
I didn't realize 2 was out. Maybe I probably saw 2, volume 2 on Indiegogo, and just thought, well, let me get 1 first. I don't know what happened there, but I have yet to receive my Lumina Vhox 1. So
I already sent it. I'm fulfilling right now. I remember your name, Rex. So
Okay.
it's already sent out. And
good.
you don't have to worry about volume 2, because on your back, whenever you back issue 1, you're gonna get both volume 1 and volume 2 with your pledge. So that's pretty cool. I actually have to. I took a little bit more of time because this project Lumina Box
Hey, Caroline.
started as a 60. It started as a 60-page book, and if you back the 25 tier on the first Lumina Box campaign, for $25 you are getting 2 books, and it's not 60 pages each; it's 96 pages each. So I decided to go full. I decided to. Um, whenever we hit the stretch goal, whenever we have all that money, I decided, like, why not take advantage of that and make and give something more to the backers. So
you didn't actually run a campaign for
nope,
volume 2, or
I
no?
didn't. Nope, it was just
Okay.
the first one campaign, and the second volume is a stretch goal per se.
Yeah, he was showing off what he got from you
cool.
yesterday, and I was like, "Wait, where's my volume 2? I didn't even know that there was a volume 2."
Everyone on the that back the first campaign will have both volumes. So
That's awesome. I'll tell you, the way I found your project was what when did you run your campaign? Last year?
it was
Early
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. I
2
really
years ago?
I really
Okay.
messed up, yeah, with that.
Okay, very early on then, Ethan Van Sciver, who I know, I'm
Yep.
sure, Cyber Frog, he was talking about your project and recommending it. And I was like, yeah, this looks pretty dope. And I don't think, I immediately, but when I could, I backed it. And yours has been one that I've really wanted to see because, it, like you say, it does have that animated quality, that a little bit of manga
Yep.
feel to it. Probably influence of your generation. I don't know how old you are, but
It's kind of like a mixed match of I wouldn't call manga my own stuff, because manga has
Right.
kind of these very particular artistic choices. I will find myself and people like Donald Tilley and other people kind of like that. I think we're more on the cartoony side, because we are I think we're more heading towards American comics, towards a kind of like Western animation with a bit of flair of manga. I mean, there is some manga, but at the same time, like or scale balance more to the Western side, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Because you're kind of playing to the crowd, right?
As of right
the
now,
market?
I think this is the style I like. I mean, this is the
Okay.
style I usually do. I have lots of styles. I don't know if you're familiar with other of my work, but I work with John Mailing on Graveyard Shift 4. I worked on with Tiger Blue with Matty Fowler. I did some stuff for Mike Barron on Tiger Blue 2, Narwhal with Bond, and with Clint Stoker. And I've been working all around with all sorts of people on the CG, on the indie sphere. And for every single project, every different project, it's kind of like a different style. But it's the style, all the styles, or kind of like the stuff I really want to do. So I like to explore different styles.
Yeah.
But
And different, I guess, different stories, different genre.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because each genre calls for another set of whatever, right? Skills.
Yeah, it does. It does. So on Graveyard Shift, it was the first time I actually tried to color like kind of these American comics. I never did before. I always use cell shade, kind of cartoony like. But on Graveyard Shift, I kind of learned how to do that, and it was real fun to work on that, doing superhero and stuff. It was my first superhero comic ever, so it was kind of neat. And then right now I'm working with other people. I'm working with the people on Clownfish TV. If you backed Crimson Ren, which is one of their books, I did all the art for all that. So it's getting into people's houses like this week. Like I've been seeing people posting pictures that they got their book, they got Tiger Blue 2, and right now they're getting Lumina Box, which is real cool.
I think there's thank you, Dr. Mask, for sharing out the link, and also Lorenzo for sharing out the link. Appreciate that. Oh, what was my next question? Shadowhawk, have you started reading Lumina Vhox?
No, I thumbed through it a little bit, looked at some of the artwork and stuff. It's beautiful.
It seems
Oh,
like
thanks a
it's
lot.
very
Striking
it seems
colors.
like it's very trippy.
Yeah, yeah, a little trippy. Um, but no, I haven't gotten a chance to actually read it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks
So
a lot.
is this your pet project, Jose? Is this I mean, will there be Illumina Vox 3 or 4 or what? I mean, is this content or is this it for this and then you go on to something else?
As of right now, I'm trying to make comics a business. So as of last year, when my first baby was born, I decided I don't really want anyone to be kind of my boss, right? So I quit my job in animation. I quit pretty much all my day jobs. I have a plenty. So I decided to start kind of this new venture. I started learning business and stuff. So I have a business that is pretty much my online school. Right now I only have like students here in Mexico, but right now I have like 200 students. I teach
Wow.
on Mondays and Thursdays, but it's kind of like three classes back to
Right.
back to back. So I'm streaming like 12 hours a day, but that's enough to be around to making around on US dollars. It will be around like 10 to 12K a
I've
month.
heard that called in college terms an intensive where you have back to back to back kind of an all day ordeal or like you say 12 hours.
Yeah, right here, it's three different courses. I'm teaching perspective, and I'm teaching animation and fundamentals. So there are two groups. So one group gets two classes a day, and the other gets only one.
So
Um,
if they have a computer, you could
yep,
you
yeah,
could
pretty
join
much.
your class.
Yep,
Okay.
yeah,
Do you
it's
have a
it's on.
link? Do you okay? Where do you find that?
Right now, I'm only promoting on Facebook because I'm only, talking to the crowd I know, to the people in Mexico. But
Okay.
I intend to make it into the US, but I still haven't found my audience right now. So I have the skills. I've been teaching this to people in DreamWorks for like 7 years, but I still haven't figured out how to bring all that to the US to an US audience. Whenever I pretty much I have a little small group. I need at least 20 people. We can start we can start with the online classes and stuff, and maybe what happened in Mexico is that word of mouth was real good. Like I start teaching in some places, and the word of mouth was real good. That I have like 50 to 60 to 100 people asking me to teach them something, right? So I'm good known. I'm very good known on that. On Mexico, so it's easier to get some students. But in the US, I'm kind of still struggling to find my voice and to find my place. But I hope someday we can do that.
Is Hey Jiminy, it's been a while. We need to get you back in here and talk with you. Be awesome.
Jose Luis
Is
Garcia
he
Lopez.
making a joke there? Is that your name, or because
No, no,
there is
no.
a Jose Luis Garcia Lopez that
Yeah,
works for
I've
DC
been
Comics, right?
I've been mistaken with him for quite a while.
Have
So
you? Okay.
yeah, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. He's from I think
Oh
he's
yeah.
from Spain, and he's a really great artist. And we actually have talked in person because
Oh cool.
sometimes people send me emails to my email
Tell Doctor
uh,
Matt.
regarding Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, right? So whenever he got a couple of words on Spain, on France, and some of that stuff, they send that to me, and I have to contact Jose Luis Garcia Lopez so to tell them, hey man, I think this was meant for you. And it started something. He was kind of mentoring for a while because I told him, yeah, I draw too and that stuff. And I started. That was a perfect excuse for me, so I can send him my drawings. And he was starting giving me revisions. He was starting to mentoring me, like kind of like on and off. So it was pretty cool. So I'm still grateful that we got mixed up every once in a while.
Yeah, I was tasked with trying to get him on here and talk with him. I know he still works for DC Comics. Does a lot of their branding, doesn't he? A lot of their marketing.
Yeah, a lot of the products. He's always. I work on DC too on the branding side. Making T-shirts, making bottles of water and all that stuff. And that's pretty cool because you always get this style guide, which is usually Jose Luis Garcia Lopez style. So you get original. You get all this inside baseball about how to make all that stuff, all the DC stuff, and it's really cool. It's really, really, really cool because you get to understand how this mind works.
What's amazing is he's been doing that since the late 70s for DC. I mean, I've seen mechanical pencils with his artwork. I mean, if you can recognize his style, his style's changed a little bit, and maybe that's with I think he's 75 years old now.
Yep.
So getting older there, but his styles, and maybe they're calling for that. But he was kind of like an in-house style for DC.
Yep. He was the gold standard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was. I can think of one or two others, like kind of like George Perez when George Perez was over at DC Comics. But I mean, you would have to look pretty hard to find somebody that was a better artist.
Yeah, I mean, his stuff was always perfect. He was always on point, and everything looked on brand. Really, like.
And when you look back on it, I think some of his covers are going to be iconic. You know, when you think of Superman or something during that time, you think of his work.
Yeah, and their style guides are still used today. Like I worked on a lot of Superman stuff, T-shirts and stuff, and they usually ask me to draw in his style. So they're very specific with that. Like they have a lot of revisions. Like it cannot be cartoony. The line weight has to be an exact size. You have to draw the hands like a very exact way. Like Superman has to be. This has exact proportions. So you really have this in-depth guide of how to draw Superman by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, I really like. I have these files right here, and I love watching them every now and then because it's super inspiring.
Might I make a suggestion for your campaign, or just ask you why you didn't do it? On your campaign for Lumina Vhox on Fund My Comic, which is a second chance offer, and you're almost there. Check out this great artwork. Now, I assume you did most of this here.
I did everything for this book. I did everything. I write. I was the editor. So you might find some mistakes on the spelling. I already found two. So sorry about that. I asked people. I asked people to check my spelling and all that stuff, but nobody really replied. So I only have the tools that I have to working with that. I promise to do better on that. But on this book, I did drawing, inks, colors. I did the lettering. I did the story. I wrote the dialogue. I was the editor. I went and printed. And right now, I'm shipping it myself. So this is a one-man operation.
Would you call yourself a workaholic, or is there such thing, and where you come from?
If you know a little bit about Mexico, we have the longest work hours in the entire world. So we are even above Japan, and we're even above China. So
really?
It's we are kind of number one on that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so we don't have 8 hours a day work hours. It's like 12 to 16 maybe. If you're lucky. So everyone in Mexico is pretty much we are used to working long hours. So growing with that, like it's not for me, it's not kind of like a stretch going to 15 to 16 hours every day. But I don't feel like when I'm doing all this stuff, like I'm really working. Like I choose like a line of work that I really find myself very comfortable with. So I'm still on my house, so I have to be very productive, and I still have to find time to take naps and to rest and to and to be a little bit more healthy.
You had
You
to
know,
pace yourself.
yeah, I have to pace myself,
Yeah.
but after so many years doing that, I've been working on the industry for 16 years now. So for me right now it's just pretty much I know I've been learning all this stuff for the last 16 years. So right now it's like pretty much my everyday is doing art, teaching classes, and it doesn't time for me. I work like really really fast, so I don't really have problems producing all this stuff. Like ever since I came to CG, I already produced like 14 books, 14 or 16 books, I cannot recall, fully drawn ink and color by me. Including Graveyard Shift, including Crimson Ren, which is 140 pages. Both Lumina Vhox are like 96 pages. So I've done more than 1,000 pages on here on CG on indie comics on the last 2 years, and right now comics is my side job. So I'm pretty much working my 9 to 5 on animation, and then whenever I have time, I do comics.
And I notice in this project you use the blacks very sparingly, like maybe around her eyes there, but there's no hard blacks within it. It's you inform a lot with color.
Yep, yeah, like this is a technique on animation. Like you don't
Right.
really want your contrast to be like really high. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, what I do pretty much is color hold on the lines. What that means is that you pretty much color the lines in one color, a shade darker than the color that you use.
Uh-huh.
So it looks animated. So only the eyes, only the mouth has those really pitch dark blacks and
Hey,
those
Brian.
really whites, right?
Why did they not want high contrast within the animated? Because
Oh,
I would
because
think like the Batman animated show would want high contrast with shadows and everything.
yeah, it does. On shows like Batman, Bruce Timm Batman, like it's about composition. So you have to lead the eye. You have to whenever you want to make someone look the right way and follow your storytelling the way you want. That's where you put the highest contrast, and the highest contrast that you could ever find is black versus white. That's the highest contrast. So that's why on
Right.
animation, you try to lead the eye to the highest. Your eye will find immediately itself going to the highest contrast part of the illustration. So black and white are used very sparingly, so you can immediately go to the focal point, and then you start kind of scanning the rest. And in Batman the animated series, you have really really long shadows. You have all this way that leads you straight to the character, and you will always be seeing Batman eyes because they are white against the black cowl, right?
Maybe it's the animated quality. I've actually, even before you threw it over on Fun My Comic, I thought about buying an extra copy of this.
Oh,
And
thanks a lot.
I don't usually do that. And I may, since they're still offered on Fun My Comic. And like you say, you get volume 2 as well. That's a good deal. But even if you didn't, there's something compelling about your colors and the way you do it. And maybe it's the animated quality. It's so different. Can you tell us a little bit about what Lumina Vhox is about?
Yeah, for sure. So this is pretty much kind of like a space opera. This is kind of like
Okay.
this is this huge war within these between these kind of eldritch gods. These eldritch gods are kind of like Lovecraftian gods that are kind of bleeding into this universe. And there's this ongoing war that's going all around the universe, and there's a lot of factions that's going here. Like I really love kind of some serious Japanese series like Gundam, and they have a lot of political kind of kind of political drama where there are factions fighting against faction and all that stuff. So that's all there on the background, but we are actually following this little green hair girl, which name is Mia. And Mia is pretty much just a bystander in all this war. She doesn't know that that all this stuff is happening on this on the universe. She's just living a normal life, a happy life with her family, with her parents, with her siblings. And one day, on the day of her birthday, she pretty much finds herself that she finds herself on a strange place, and she noticed that there's something weird inside of her. So what happens is that someone or we still don't know in the story of Lumina Vhox, we haven't showed that yet, but someone offered her as a tribute, so she can be used as a vessel for these eldritch gods. So right now she is she pretty much lost her family, lost her planet on the wake of this eldritch god, on the birth of this eldritch god, and right now she's trapped in between kind of this dimension, this void dimension, and the real life. She lost control of her real body, and she's kind of split between in her body it dwells two souls, dwells the soul of Mia, and it dwells the eldritch god that tried to take power of her whole body. So yeah, so pretty much it's a story about family. She's trying to recover the souls of her family that they were lost on the day that the eldritch god kind of came to life, and the ritual wasn't complete yet, and we have different factions. The first book pretty much isn't about Mia. It's about the guy who has the weapon on the very first image, and his name is Praetor Ragnar. And Ragnar is kind of like he comes in behalf of this organization that it's called the Coalition of Galaxies, and there are these kind of these cops of the universe. They bring other planets to the fold, they bring other galaxies to the fold, and then trying to make this kind of peaceful civilization. But these eldritch gods are messing everything up, and Praetor Ragnar is one of these guys who is one of these legendary soldiers, and he stumbled upon all this kind of stuff. And we find his story, which is pretty much kind of investigating what's happening, because one of the sectors, one of these galaxies was completely destroyed by something, and we don't know what. And we see through his eyes, like we start investigating what the hell happened. And we see that he actually knows one of these godly beings, right? He has dealt with those before, and the other book is pretty much the story of Mia, her origin story, and how all the factions are coming together, because there are a lot more people, a lot more stuff involved in this huge drama. And I think people will really like it. It's kind of have these political tones. It has action. It has pretty much kind of all this family stuff. This core of the stories is Mia searching for her family. So I really hope people enjoy it. I'm really curious to start listening to what people think about this kind of storytelling and stuff.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. One suggestion: how come you didn't use the trailer on the second chance?
Oh yeah, the music will get you copyright strike. So yeah, so I didn't change the music at all, and I have like very little time to do it. But yeah, I mean, if you put that, well, it's not a copyright strike, but they will demonetize your stream. So whenever I show it on, I
hell,
think
we'll play it anyway.
Oh, thanks.
Played it yesterday.
Thanks a lot.
I don't know how it happened.
We don't have to worry about
but nothing found its way into us. It took everything from me. I'm not sure how, but I'm gonna take it back. what is a Lumina? If you want to know, find out by backing. Only on Indiegogo.
Very
fun.
cool. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, that was a fun trailer to make. Like I really did it. Like took me like 2 days before going live with the first campaign, so I was really rushed to finish that stuff. And yeah, I grabbed some of the. I grabbed some effects, some 2D effects that I already have on my library. I have to pretty much do all the production and stuff. I did it all in Photoshop, and the voice is actually AI. So I actually it was just a text to speech voice that was on the internet, and I just pretty much just saved all that stuff, saved the file, and put it on the trailer, and it was good. It was good. I really liked it.
Almost 28,000 on your first campaign. You had to be happy, and you turned around and made a volume 2.
Yeah.
So did you conclude? I didn't. If you've already told me, will there be any more Lumina Vhox, or
there will be more Lumina Vhox? All of my projects I'm doing here on the Indie Comics, they are not smaller scope. I will never do on my own stuff. I will never do a one shot. I will never do kind of like a 2-3 book story. My stories are lean more into the 10 to 16 books. So I'm pretty much kind of like a long storyteller. So while I have the skills to tell this story kind of in like a couple floppies, I don't really want to. I really want to experience all the story beats. I really want to experience to expand a lot on how the characters interact and all that stuff. So I really want it to be like a really nice experience, right? I really want the pacing to be something on their own, kind of like a little slower, more pages, but it has a lot more meat on it than your regular floppy, right? So
Shadowhawk seemed to think that it was kind of text heavy, right, Shadow? Or story, I forget exact words, but the production value used spot gloss on the covers, right?
Yeah, on all of the covers, even the variant covers for the new campaign, we use spot gloss. All of my comics that I do all have spot gloss, all have square bound spines. So yeah, so
are the covers, the variant covers, that was only on Fun My Comic, so that's kind of a Fun My Comic exclusive, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, on the first campaign, I couldn't do that. The thing is that after 2 years, I actually had time to finish the books, and when I was printing, there was kind of this little shortage of paper that in which they couldn't print the covers. So that was kind of like kind of like I don't know.
You can blame us for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because I have like 700 books with the first 2 covers, and the original plan was only having those 2 covers. But since it has, we spent like a month waiting on the paper for the final 300 covers. I told my printer, like, hey, can I actually make another covers? And can you print them? And they tell me sure, and they didn't charge me anything extra. So pretty much all these covers kind of came to be because of this weird circumstance in which there was this paper shortage. They were very sorry that they couldn't deliver on time. So pretty much what they told me is, yeah, we're gonna print them. We're gonna print 300 and 300 of volume 1 and volume 2 for free. No more charges, and it's gonna have spot gloss. And I received all that stuff like kind of a little bit after. So when I received that, and
really,
I had
the
it on my hands,
are going to be very limited, right? I was going to ask you
they're only 300 of each.
You overprinted, right? You overprinted, like you sold so many, and then you overprinted. What was your overprint? And what did you ultimately wind up printing, Jose, number-wise?
I mean, I sell my comics here in Mexico too, in Comic Cons, and I want to be
Right.
selling on cons. So I usually print like 1,000 books of each project that I'm working on,
Wow.
because I
Yeah.
usually sell around 500 to 700 here on my local market. So I always have like 300 spares. And now that I'm into the CG, into the indie comic scene, I think that right now I can sell the 1,000 books, and I can
I
clean
think so
all
too.
my.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
I really hope
now,
so.
how did I did want to ask you that? How did you get into the CG, into the crowdfunding? How did you find out about it? I noticed you've been on YouTube since 2009, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I erased a lot of stuff. I did some crowdfunders. You might have found beside the Lumina box trailer, there was another trailer for another book called Seasons. It's actually animated too. So I did that book first. I was doing crowdfunding on the side whenever I was working before working on animation actually, and comics have always been my end game. I never wanted to become fully work full time on animation, but that was where the most money was. So yeah, so I was kind of looking to break away from animation, from all these little jobs that I have. And then I found Jaboy Sack, and he was talking about this guy who was called Narwhal, and he was and Narwhal has this very cartoony, this very wacky
Yeah.
style.
When I kind of look at your stuff, I get sort of a Norwal vibe. Although I've not ever backed any one of his books. They've always looked interesting and always gotten some good reviews.
I love
Uh,
Narwhal. I really love Narwhal style. I actually I never bought one of his comics, but now that he has Earthbound right now, I bought the I can't recall the name, but it's the catch up tier. It has like all the books he has ever done. It
oh
was like
wow.
200
Yeah.
bucks. So yeah, I really wanted to have a Narwhal book. So I decided, you know what? I have some extra money right now. I'm gonna buy every single thing that Narwhal has done, because on the video of Yaboy Sack, he was telling about he was doing some stuff with Narwhal, and he mentioned CG, and I was like, what the hell is CG? Who the hell is Narwhal? And I started looking at Narwhal's YouTube channel, and that kind of gave me hope. And I saw that his style was really well appreciated within CG, and it was a shock to me, because all my career that I wanted to work in comics, either you draw like Marvel or DC style, or
Mhm.
you draw like this very traditional realistic style, and kind of like these cartoony, these stylistic styles, they seem to be frowned upon, right? So I actually was when I was 18, I actually was Tom DeFalco, editor on Marvel, offered me a job to work on Marvel, but the
Yeah.
catch was you have to draw in a realistic way, in which I say no. I don't really want. I want to make my cartoony stuff. I want to do those stuff, and so I never work on Marvel. I had the opportunity, but I say, I don't enjoy realistic style. I really want to do something more kind of like Joe Matt, kind of like Humberto Ramos, and they wouldn't let me. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna pass on Marvel. It's not a big deal for me. So I have something else to pursue in animation and stuff. And yeah, so I was of the idea that I wasn't really approaching comics, because there was always this disdain for these cartoony styles. So whenever I saw Norwal and I saw him that he was good in great reception, I think like, hey, maybe this is the place for me. Maybe this is the place where I can actually do the things that I want, and people will actually buy them. Because for
Yeah.
animation, I have to do a little bit more cartoony. For TV, for live action, I have to do a little bit more realistic. But I've never been fully happy with the work I've done on the mainstream. So for me, that sucked, and I wanted to get out like real bad. I wanted to get out real bad out of that, because I felt like my creativity was dying. and I said like I really need to go indie so I can do the stuff that I really want. And I found CG, I found Norwal, and after seeing a couple of guys, which Donald Delay and other guys that were making like other stuff that other than 90s stuff comics, I saw that there was success and people were willing to at least give it a try. And that's what I
Well,
came
there's a bunch within CG trying to, do the 90s style, but I'm a little bit,
yeah.
I'm 57 years old. I'm more Bronze Age in 1980s.
yeah. There's stuff like what's his name? He was working with Joe Fulton. I can't remember his name right now. He's from London, I think. Oh, sorry, I forgot. He was doing that. What was the name of the campaign? It was something about. It was something about death, but it was on the Bronze Age style, and it was really cool.
Oh, Only Death Can Save Us.
Only Death Can Save Us. Yeah.
Russ Leach. Yeah, we've had him on.
Yeah, Russ Leach. Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, Russ Leach is making some really cool stuff. Bronze Age kind of with Joe Fulton, and I'm actually very excited for that one, for the Joe Fulton kind of for his universe. So, but I haven't seen him around. I used to see him on Michael Bancroft's stream, but I have been kind of away for a while from streams and all that stuff. So
how dare you?
I don't know what's happening right now on
I don't know what's happening right now. We clip that.
Yeah.
That's like an everyday occurrence for me.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because 2 years ago when I came to CG, like there were all of these channels, there were all of these creators, and 2 years later, like the whole field has changed. Like I cannot recognize what has happened to CG. There's a lot of shows that have come and gone. There's a lot of shows that have merged. There's a lot of people that have gone for good. So I don't really know where I'm standing right now. So this Second Chance campaign is kind of like my way back to still making friends, to keep on touch with all the guys from all the shows, and kind of getting a lay of the land so I can know how to move forward. Because as of right now, right now that I left my day job, I don't have any excuse left to for not going full time making comics, which is my dream. Right. So now with my business, with my art school business, I can I have left all my day jobs, so I'm just trying to make a full living out of comics, like really, really seriously living out of my comics. So that means making Lumina
you had a great breakout. Now with this, you have with the Second Chance offer, if you combine that with what you've earned before, you earned like 28,000. Pretty good first campaign. So I would be excited to, now that the books are coming out, to actually listen to people like Shadowhawk and others and myself, once I get mine, to, that people that do reviews, and we've not really done reviews. I mean, we do a daily show here. There's not a lot of times to read, but we do back and stuff like that. This is actually episode 477. So
I just found your message because I've been away for so long from CG that I have like a pile of messages on read messages. So I was like scrolling on top.
Well, I saw you on Twitter going, I don't have this many shows to go on. I think I'll do this. And I'm like, you can come on my show.
And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're one of the people I've been wanting to get on for a while, and maybe you just posting. I try and pay pretty close attention to Twitter.
Thanks a lot. No, and it was great because this is kind of like my first stream, like getting back into the game. So it's kind of great that it's kind of like cozy. It's kind of smaller stream, kind of like not this crazy stuff like once one time I went into Ethan and I was like a deer on the headlights. Like I didn't know what was happening. There was like 20 people talking and it was like, oh my god, what the hell am I even doing?
Yeah.
But as of right now, with all these,
Deer in
with
the
you,
headlights, folks. Right
yeah,
here.
they're
Deer
in the headlights. Yep.
Look at those
And I
eyes.
was like, oh man, yeah. And that show turned out really great because it brought another 3 or 4,000 in just like a couple of hours, which is incredible. And
Yeah.
but right
Well,
now,
you get
getting
too
back,
many people on a panel, and you only have limited time to break in and speak, and whatnot.
yeah. And the thing is that well, English is not my first language, so I'm pretty much take a little bit of time to kind of, if I want to tell a witty joke, it takes me a second, right? So whenever by the time that I already have the witty joke, like someone else has told something already, and the conversation has already
Right.
moved on. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I've been frustrated like that too. It's like, oh, that would have been great, but the guy didn't pause and he just kept on talking.
exactly. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how it is.
And it's all about timing, comedic
Yep.
timing for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I try to start my way up again. Start from smaller streams and then building up my own channel. So I'm trying to get back my mojo per se. I don't know. I have to. It's kind of hard still for me to still speak in English. So every now and then you will find.
Well,
I
you're
will catch
better at
myself.
it than I am.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Now, when you're not chained to your chair, what do you do to relax, Jose? Or do you?
so I go out with my wife, so I pretty much go on on walks.
You go, boy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I play with my baby. I've been finding myself lately playing with my little girl. So I've been spending like, I wake up earlier that I usually do, and I intend to play at least with her for a couple of hours. Right before I start my work day, I try to be with my baby girl a couple of hours, and then I just wake up and I start my work day. And every time I have to go to eat dinner, I don't know, eat a meal. I since I'm working from home, like I have my wife here, she's with the baby all day, so they come by my studio and they visit. So we're always kind of talking and all that stuff.
Okay, so you're home, but you have a separated studio space.
Yeah, let's say that I have this extra room. I have like a very big house, but I have this extra studio when I play my video games, and I have my computer. So I pretty much just it's in the fourth floor. So you have to come all the way to the fourth floor, and and you can hang out. And my brother is living with me since we have like this big house. And my wife, she has her own studio, and she's an animator too. So she has her own studio, and we have kind of like a room for the baby. My brother has his bedroom, and he has his studio. So right now, as of maybe a year ago, my mom actually came to. I asked her to come live with us. She has her own apartment, but because we weren't able to take care of the baby, it was a little too much for us. Our mom come by, and she's living with us, and she has her own studio right at the in the first floor. She's a nurse. So she applies all these treatments to her patients. So she's kind of like this. She has her own kind of practice, which is cool. So everyone in the house is working. We have our own spaces.
What's
We share
wild,
the living room.
Jose? I know family is really important down there with
Yep.
with most people, right? Unless
Mhm.
they're part of a drug cartel or the underworld, right?
Yeah.
And maybe even family's important then. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah, but I was adopted. Shadowhawk was adopted into a family, and recently through my daughter doing a DNA test for like ancestry.com. You're familiar with that, maybe trace your
Mhm.
family
Yeah,
history.
I know. Yeah.
My sister found me,
Oh, nice.
my half sister, because we have different fathers, but we have the same mother. And
Congrats.
and so that's kind of mind blowing at my age, to find out.
Yeah, I mean,
My
to find out
actual,
your roots. Yeah,
yeah, my roots.
that's awesome, man. Like, yeah,
I
I mean,
know, and and they're not too bad. I mean, yes, we have people that make alcohol like moonshiners and
yeah,
other people like that. The seedier side, but and then you could say this is the seedy side. We, related to a couple presidents,
hmm
and to a signer of the Declaration of Independence. So it's pretty
oh,
wild to
nice.
find out at
That's
this
really
age.
cool.
Hey, Bush. Joining us from Twitch. Jonas
Nice.
Jonas is from Sweden.
Awesome. So,
From
so yours
where
simulcasting, streaming both in Twitch and YouTube.
is it? I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'm sorry. Are you streaming at the same time in both YouTube and Twitch right now?
YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, StreamYard will let you diversify and throw it into different, but they're kind of limited on what you can do. We do that every day. Yeah, to Twitter and to Twitch as well as YouTube. Jonas
Man,
wanted to know, and this
you're more
was one of
connected
my.
with. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
This was one of my questions. Jonas wanted to know, where are they shipping from? Is that Mexico?
Yeah, we're shipping from Mexico right now. I have 2 years ago, I have some of my family, which were working at the border. So they told me that they will be able to cross some books and send them from USPS, from the U.S. Postal Service. But that didn't work out because now they are living. They have to change. They have to go to live in the U.S. But they are right now. They're going into. I think Georgia. They moved to Georgia because of their work. So I cannot send them from Mexico to the border and to the border to the U.S. So right now I'm doing all the shipping from Mexico, from my local post office.
How does your wife feel about you working at home?
So I've been doing
and
this
kind of the career shift that you've had.
Like she doesn't
Northwind.
mind a lot because what really matters is that you bring the money to the to the table, to the food to the table, right? So
right.
So she has seen me like more happy doing all that stuff, and she knows, and she works on animation too. So she hates
really?
the same stuff that I hate on animation. So whenever there was this possibility of breaking out of animation, she told me like, yeah, go ahead, like you go ahead. I will done the same in your own. Listen, hey Jose, have you seen Wakanda Forever? You're nah. I haven't seen any Marvel movies after Endgame, so I'm sorry. I just got burned out of all that Marvel stuff. Like, it sucks. But
it's been out there, and you would think it might go better and better and better, and it's getting worse and worse.
It's getting worse. Like
and same thing with DC, like the second Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm a very big DC fan. Like, if you put Marvel and DC in front of me, I always choose DC. I always grew up with Batman. I grew up with Superman.
Was that because of Jose Garcia Lopez over there?
Yeah, actually, I found some of his comics in Mexico because like he has this very kind of you will say this name that kind of looks a Spaniard, kind of looks kind of like Latino like. So they had him on showcase here on Mexico, so you could find kind of like a collection of stories done by and drawn by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, right? And in the cover, I will try to look for them, but in the cover you will have like it says like DC Comics by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And you bought them and you read The Flash, you read kind of Wonder Woman, the Superman, all these mini stories that he drawn. But it was kind of like this mix and match of stories all drawn by him. So yeah, that was one of the books that actually brought me into DC Comics. I really loved how Superman worked as a character. And then, I jumped into the Death of Superman. I jumped into the other kind of stuff, the Emerald Twilight, which was kind of crazy for the time, and all the Flash stuff. And I really love Wonder Woman. And yeah, I mean, I got into the JLA and all that stuff, and yeah, it was kind
Now
of
you probably watched the animated stuff like Justice League Unlimited and things like that, maybe.
Love that stuff. I really love that stuff. I mean, my love for Marvel stopped and ended with the animated series, right? So when I saw the Spider-Man show, the 90s Spider-Man and the 90s X-Men show, I started collecting Marvel comics. But in Mexico here, we have like arcs, right? Like you have like all the, I don't know, you have all the Phoenix Saga, right? The Dark Phoenix Saga, you have all the Apocalypse
with John
Saga.
Byrne and Terry Austin, Chris Claremont,
all that awesome stuff. And some of that stuff was kind of like the Jim Lee era when he was drawing X-Men, and that was kind of what was being animated, right? So I started doing all those sagas. I wanted to know. I wanted to have the comics of the show I was seeing, right? So when they go against Omega Red, when they go to Genosha and all that stuff, that was the stuff that was in Mexico. We were having all that stuff on pair with the animation, so it felt kind of like manga and anime, where you can see you can see the anime, and you pretty much can go into the manga and continue the story. So that's how I thought comics on the US were, because I was seeing the animated series, and I can go back and buy the comics, and I can kind of read ahead, right? I read ahead of the series.
I think that's where Marvel messed up a lot, and even Cecil mentioned that, they would show Iron Man, but they would have Ironheart, a female in the armor. It wasn't Tony Stark like was in the movies. They didn't capitalize with what they were showing you. The Thor that was in the movies was not the Thor you were getting in the book. So
exactly, So
I
that
think
was
they threw a lot of money away, and
they
really wasted an opportunity to draw more people in to buy the books.
Exactly, because when I was trying to bring my normie friends into comics, like I was like, yeah, man, you should read Captain America right now. It's really cool. And whenever you go into the comic book store, there was no Sid Rogers around at the time that the movie came out. So I was like, oh yeah, well okay, let's see how with Iron Man, let's get them into Iron Man. And there's friggin' Ironheart, and that was like, So I have to go back into the bin, into the older stuff, and the style isn't as as exciting as the new digital colors. So it was kind of like a messed up. Like it was like, well, what can you do? No, they're messing up.
Do you approach how do you approach color? Because obviously in Lumina Vhox, your colors are off the chain. It's more animated in it's more animated in technique maybe, or look. How do you approach colors? I mean not just on this project, but in general. You just if somebody said, okay, I want you to color this kind of traditional style. I noticed, I and Shadow Hawk have noticed a lot of the newer comics for the last, say, 30 years, and maybe some back even in the 80s, the colors, especially in the digital age, the colors to the covers are too dark.
Yeah,
really.
I know. I don't know if you have noticed this, but they are always kind of like a gradient from blue to reds and kind of to yellows to brown. And they look kind of muddy, or
muddy.
They can look, They look muddy, and they always kind of look exactly the same, right? Like you could there wasn't a time on X-Men on the 2014, 2015, whenever you always grab a copy of X-Men, and they were always these yellow, brownish, kind of bluish colors that they look like really weird. Even if you change the artist, the colors all look the same, and it was kind of like a turn off. Whenever you always saw the art, it kind of sucked. No, it bring the art down. So the way I approach color is pretty much I try to I have my color theory write
Right.
down. I have it like very studied, like pretty much what they do in animation. Like every scene should have its own color palette, and it will have its own uh, highlights and contrast and all that stuff. And you have to make very obvious kind of the change of scenery, because that was one of the things that kind of irked me about comics, that you never knew when the location changed, whenever because the colors were exactly the same in all the scenes, right?
Yeah, with the environment, like if you're outside, it should be different than if you're in an interior, right?
Yeah, and I don't know,
Yeah.
in Graveyard Shift, like this is what some of the people liked, that it was very obvious when they were fighting on the outside and when there was daylight, and it didn't look exactly the same. Because even when they're in some comics, even when there's daylight and you have a blue sky, and when you have a like kind of like this when they're at night, they always look shiny. They always look like they are hitting by the same daylight,
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have to
Well,
change a
you
little
can
bit the
almost
environment.
forgive some of that, right? Because they're doing it for production. It's like Marvel, DC. We got to get this out. It's done on a monthly basis, or maybe a bi-monthly, or maybe even a quarterly. But I mean, it's always this. We're not
Yeah.
making art here. We're making comics,
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
yet,
know.
over in the Europe and other countries, it is looked as more of an art form.
Yeah,
But I think we
yeah.
kind of exploit that and put out a bunch of crap here in America, and
But
we
I think
wonder
that
why comics aren't
aren't selling.
exalted
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a skill issue for a lot of people,
A
because
couple
you
of
can have your color palette and your kind of like your color theory down before started working professional.
Right.
But what I think
Right.
is that most people don't actually care to learn all that stuff right now. Like they see a couple of comics, they say, "Yeah, I can do that." They saw a couple tutorials on YouTube, and they just go by that. So they never try to learn
What
all
was
the.
the thinking about the color behind Lumina Vhox? Because it is, I mean, the whole project is different than anything, most projects out there. And would you call yourself, and this is a, stupid question, but would you call yourself a good writer?
Yeah, so I've been working on the story department on animation for quite a while. That means maybe 5 years. And the story department, you pretty much come up with ideas. You do the character designs, you do all the environment design. So I
Mhm.
was pretty much paid to come out with ideas every single day.
Are you
So yeah.
secretly Michael Bancroft Jr.?
Nah.
Because he does the same thing, right? He's a one-man show.
Yeah, he's a vanguard. He's awesome. He's really awesome, Mike, and he's been doing the YouTube really good. And now with his campaign, the
Mhm.
Lucent, he's like 60 grand almost.
Yeah,
I really
awesome.
respect that. I really, really respect Michael Bancroft. Um,
Yeah.
so the thing is that the way I approach color and all that stuff here on Lumina Box is that I try to make it like kind of like cell shade animation, kind of like you draw the only one shade on your characters, kind of like a highlight, and the backgrounds are a little bit more kind of worked out, so you can contrast both the characters against the backgrounds, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty much all the stuff
Yeah.
I already knew from
Yeah, I mean, I
from
see you
writing.
making contrast with color and not the hard edge of black.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to do that. I know how to do that thing with the inks, making a thicker lines and all that stuff. But as of right now, I like it's more time. what I noticed is when I start doing comics, it didn't matter if I did all my inks like super perfect, right? Like if I do the line weight, if I did the hatching and all that stuff, because my kind of coloring kind of eats all that out. So what I started doing is I'm pretty much doing kind of like the animation line in which it doesn't have a line weight, and
I
you
could
do
see where
all
that would
the.
be quicker and quicken things
It's
up
quicker.
for you.
It's quicker. It's a lot quicker. I can do like 4 to 5
Mhm.
pages a day. So I see people struggle with just 1 page a day, and
Yeah.
I can pretty much ink like 5 a day, and I pretty much resolve everything with colors, right? So I add the depth, I add the atmosphere, I add all the stuff with colors, and yeah, I mean
Were
it's
you
easier and it's quicker.
personally disappointed with the time that it's I mean, there's been a lot of criticism within CG that, oh, this project's taking 2 years, 3 years, or never coming out, you know.
Yeah, so with that thing, I mean, I will be kind of on the complaining side because I grew up with manga. So I grew up with manga and comics. So I'm really used to whenever I stopped reading comics, it was kind of like maybe 2010, maybe 2012, around that time. Whenever I stop reading comics, when I stop going to my local LCS, there was manga, and manga was weekly. So ever since 2010, I've been getting my stuff weekly, and I always have like 3 or 4 series that I'm following. So I always have that shot
Yeah.
of stories, and regularly for the last 10 years, 12 years, right? So whenever I come to CG, and I'm a pretty fast artist, so I'm pretty much all my peers on animation work as hard as me. So every single one of them can put at least like 15 to 20 bucks a year, 60 books with great quality, right? And whenever I come to CG, it's like. Well, all these people are comics. They haven't never worked on animation, which means they are like 10 times slower. So I will
Yeah.
expect like really high quality, but at the same time, only a little few can get into that. And since they are very set on their ways, I think that comics are people that are very kind of, I don't know, they're very stubborn, and they don't want to learn from new stuff, from animation. They don't want to learn from manga. Like they
Right.
are kind of set on their ways, and that makes them a lot slower on the art side, right?
But
So
the turtle won the race, not the hare.
yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of my view on CG. Like they can do a lot better. They have a lot of guys have the
Yeah.
money.
Well, now
But
there's a lot of first time people jumping in. Really,
yeah,
crowdfunding has opened up a new vein or a new avenue, right, for people
yeah.
to finally break their way in and get their comic funded and published.
And it's a learning curve because I
Yeah.
mean, I will my original plan was to have Lumina box within the first 4 months of the campaign, right? But life happens, and we have a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't on the point of my life where I could quit my day job, so I have to make Lumina box and all these other books within my on my spare time. So a lot of people right now are getting fresh into this, and the learning curve is hard. Like just coming to stream, learning to talk, like jumping into YouTube, start reaching to people to promote you, right? So you have to find the right place, the right time, and then you have to juggle that with your day job. You have to juggle that with family. You have to juggle that with all that stuff. And on my very first campaign, which was Lumina Box, it's pretty much that you don't know. Uh, what you're getting into. So you're pretty much jumping to work into something that it takes a lot of time, and a lot of us are mostly excited. We are very excited to start working on our own stuff, that we kind of disregard all that kind of learning curve. So that's why you see 1 to 2 to 3 years delays on comics. And for first-time creators, I'm very lenient. I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is a learning curve. I know how this works, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
have more patience with first-time creators. But
Right.
with creators that have been successful, for me, it's kind of like a mystery on why have they not upped their production, right? Like, you can always hire someone else, you can always do this, do that, and you have the money. So I don't know. So with bigger creators, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty much like, I don't
I,
know how why they take that all that much.
I like what you're alluding to there. You can always do better.
Yep. Yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it should get. Even though your business grows bigger, you should get a kind of more like a handle of what you of you can do, and you can, at least give more real times instead of just coming for the first time and just trying
Right.
to figure stuff out. By the second or third campaign, you should have your times, your deadlines figured out, and you pretty much
Well,
just
I'm
uh,
glad you didn't run the blitzkrieg. I
yeah,
disagreed with John Malin the way he's done it. I want to keep this limited. That's fine. It works for him. Maybe it works
yep,
better on fulfillment for him. I'm not going to
mhm,
criticize the way another person runs their own
yep,
company or project. But for me, it's like I need more time to jump on board, and yours might be a good example. I'm not sure. I would have to go back and look at my records to see exactly. I think I backed it, way back, but uh, maybe when I first started backing, but uh, this in and out. I want to have it out in 4 months. Well, that's great to get it in people's hands, but I'm like, you're losing out on a lot of people that, I mean, you assume everybody's who's going to hear about the project has heard about the project, and
yep.
sometimes that just takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
So
for
it
word to
really,
get around and say, "Oh, have you checked this out?" And I know
yeah,
that's frustrating. People want to get it out and go move on to the next thing, and but I think having it out there a bit really helps.
yeah,
Helps not only you as a creator, gives you more time, and maybe you don't need more time, but also for people to see your project and to jump on board, and there's nothing more frustrating than seeing a good project that you would like to back, but you just can't,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
I know.
and
I've been
you
there.
know, and I know for some people that if you gave them 3 years, they would still probably say, "Yeah, I want to back that," but it's just not there. Well, you have to somehow come up with it. If you want, I'm not talking about deadbeats, but uh, yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad as long as I get it, it's not, I
yeah,
don't have a
yeah.
beef with any project. As long as I get it, I don't care how long I have to wait. I mean,
Yeah.
What I want pretty much is that with bigger projects, I like to have a buffer. I like to read all of it at once and be excited for the next project, right? But
yeah, yeah,
I want it not to be like 2 years or 1 or 2 years like
yeah,
waiting time, because once I have that buffer, like, I want more right now. And as an artist, I say like, okay, yeah, I would like to give them more time to make their best craft. But as a consumer, I'm like, I want this right now. I want to follow the
sure,
story. I want to be
yeah,
excited. I want to all that stuff. And as an artist, it's like, yeah, well, let's give them time. Let's make them. Let's give them time and support them to make a masterpiece. But at the same time, as a consumer, it's pretty much like, I want this stuff. I want it right now. I don't care if your dog died. I don't care if you take like 5 days to finish just one page, even if it's a masterpiece. I want it right now. I want to read comics. I want to be excited about comics. And usually whenever I come here to back on CG, I usually there's two projects I back. there's the projects which I know as a customer that I will get straight away, which are the projects that I usually back. And there's a kind of like my artist kind of persona, I don't know, in which I can tell someone is going to deliver an art book pretty much. I'm not buying that comic as a comic, but as an art book. And I can wait years for an art book. But if I want to follow the story and all that stuff, yeah, I prefer pretty much. I'm pretty much more like consumer.
Well,
Consumer like.
you kind of had, you grew up on those trade paperbacks where you could binge read whole arcs.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we had to wait monthly, with the floppies.
With the floppies, yeah, it's a culture kind of like a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
We are both so different, and that's why kind of I think the way I do.
Well, I mean, Queen had the song, right? I want it all and I want it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Everyone has their own plan. I mean, I'm fast enough that whenever I go full time, I can pretty much knock a book with great quality in maybe a month, maybe 2 months. But I haven't been right there for the past 2 years. I only have the opportunity to maybe next year start going full time. And whenever I go full time, like you guys will see, like maybe at least 12 books for me on the year, because I really like producing. I really like making comics.
So you're going to try and do like a monthly?
Yeah, but
I don't see how you do that in crowdfunding unless you kind of do it like Professor Murph and you kind of put it into a bundle, which was a sort of a secondary thought for him. He wanted to wait till all 6 books were out, but he decided to release a little, as he got them done, to the subscribers or whatever.
Yeah,
so that was kind of novel.
I'm still figuring out that, because maybe I'm going to start making maybe 4 campaigns a year, so I don't have to be all day, just sitting on streams promoting. I actually want to be drawing.
Yeah.
So I maybe.
Well, it could be. It could, like you say, it could be 4 campaigns, and the first campaign be for like 3 books, right?
Yep.
And then
I can do that.
3 books, and then you get 12 in a year.
Yeah. That's one way to go. The other way to go is pretty much have like what I was thinking is maybe doing the 12 books a year, maybe only doing 4 campaigns, but have the buffer. Have the buffer for issue 2, for volume 2, for or issue 2 or 3 of the same book, and then roll it around maybe next year, or I don't know. I'm still figuring this stuff out. But
you're still taking commission work from different things within CG, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop taking commissions the next month, maybe, because I want to go full time. I want to go full time on my classes, and I want to go full time on my own projects. So right after this one, right after I finish, I'm actually right now doing an 8-page commission for a fantasy story, and right after that, I'm gonna finish my work with Clownfish TV. I'm gonna finish this year the 2nd book for Crimson Wren.
Are you doing animated stuff for Clownfish?
Not yet, but there's a plan. There's a plan there.
Okay.
I've been an art director before, so I can bring them some talent, and I'm done animation, so we can do something right there. I'm talking with Neon about all that stuff, so it's pretty cool.
How's your fulfillment going? And then after fulfillment, is it just go, balls to the wall, try and become full time in comics?
As for right now, 300 orders sent from my Indiegogo campaign. I have 500, so I'm pretty much halfway there.
Okay.
That's 600 or more books sent in the last weeks. As of right now, just today I went into the mail, but I couldn't send my next 30 packages because my post office is understaffed. And whenever I want to send something to the US, I have to fill this format that I have to give them to account for all the items, for all the packages. So they run out of those, and I have to wait until next Wednesday so I can send another 100 packages.
That's got to
And
be frustrating.
yeah, it's frustrating because I
Yeah.
was right there with 30 packages, and I did all
Yeah,
all
now
the
you had to bring
unloading and
some of
stuff.
them back home.
Yeah, and I brought them back home, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I have to bring them upstairs. I don't want it to get wet, so yeah, it
Yeah.
was kind of like a back and forth with the boxes, and that was frustrating. So right now, I'm gonna have to wait until Wednesday to send the next 30. So I'm pretty much fulfillment is gonna take longer than I expect. After I fulfill the first campaign of Lumina Box, I'm gonna start fulfilling the second chance campaign, like exactly like right after. I'm gonna wait
Okay.
maybe 2 or 3 weeks until people
Now,
have their
are you
books.
taking a look at that? You're not fully funded yet, so we need to get you funded, right?
Yeah, we need to. I
Yeah.
actually did kind of like this ninja launch. I wasn't contacting all the people. This is kind of like a soft launch. I'm trying to get back into the game, so I'm not
Right.
really worried about that. I'm gonna leave that open for a while, so I'm not
Yeah.
really worried about
I
it.
noticed there was no end date on that, but one suggestion I would be is, put a trailer on there.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Definitely
gonna
put a
change the
trailer on
music,
there if
and
you
I'm
had to
gonna try
change the
to.
music or whatever. But
Yep.
it's a little Steve Ditko to me. You're familiar with Steve Ditko. I mean, he would do those weird Doctor Strange images in limbo or another dimension of RAM, and you have floating eyeballs and all kinds of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very different looking project. It's and I'm very grateful. The thing of it is you can't piggyback. Sometimes you can off the success of one campaign. What I'm saying, I've seen some very good campaigns that don't do what yours do. They have excellent looking art,
Hmm.
and they don't even get funded.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
know
think
it
it's
sucks.
because people are unwilling to take a chance, but apparently you got out there enough. It's intriguing enough. And plus, you got to push, at least in my mind, because that's where I found this project was with Ethan, talking about it. And I was like, wow, yeah. And it always stuck with me. I've got to, got to really consider backing this book because it does look, it's different from most of the other comics that I buy, but it's intriguing.
Yeah,
It has
I'll
an
try. I'll
intriguing
try to
visual
get back.
style. I want to see what's going on here, especially with
Yeah,
your colors.
thanks a lot.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
I think it's because you didn't adopt the hard edge
Hmm.
look. You very sparing on the
But
blacks and
it's
went with more the animated feel. That
definitely a different look, man. But very, very, very bold, very eye-catching. Like Rex was saying, the colors are beautiful.
Mhm.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I like that my style is kind of standoffish. Because it's very different of what I've seen on CG, and it was actually kind of this. I'm also betting on myself that if I do good enough work, like people, I don't know. I know that there's a lot of people that are fans of the '90s, but I think if you do a well enough job on your art and both in your writing, like people can
Mhm.
give you a chance. So I'm betting on myself on this one. So
Now,
uh,
do you
There you go.
design? Did you design the logo?
yeah, I did everything on the campaign.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
that's that's pretty cool that you've had. Do you do a lot of conventions down Mexico? Because you said you sell,
yeah, I
you
sell a
plan on
lot
selling
here.
some down there.
I do quite a while, a lot of conventions. I'm always a guest speaker on most conventions because I'm kind of
Okay.
like I'm kind of successful on what I do. So I've been working on DreamWorks. That's a dream of a lot of people have. So I have my ins and outs in animation, and I've been working with publishers. Like I work with Comixology Originals. I did a series right there. I work for what's the name of this one? First Second Books. I did some books right there. I work with Devil's Due Publishing. I've been working in around with the kind of like the smaller publishers in the US making comics. I work in France doing bande dessinée. So I have my hardcovers of work in France. So I've been working all around, and people on Mexico, at least, it's a very small community. So we all know each other, and whenever they see me, like oh, Jose is working on Voltron, and everyone hears about it, and then the next thing I know is that people from the cons call me and tell me, hey, we can give you a table, and you can if you can give a talk, and all of the stuff in Mexico is pretty much connected to the universities, to college. So there's a lot of college that have the animation career. So they brought the college stuff into the Comic Cons, which brings a lot of students, and they are pretty much they are amazed by all the stuff that it can be done. So you have a lot of students with money which buy comics and which buy animation. So it's a very different beast that in the US. I mean,
is this certainly you worked in a lot of different fields and a
Yep.
lot of different things, but now is this your first comic?
Not really. I mean, I've done
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 before on crowdfunding.
Okay. But
In
still, you probably got a thrill getting that in your hands, right?
Yeah, it
From
is
the
cool. I
from
mean,
the
it's
publisher.
always beautiful smelling all that new paper, the fresh comic out of the printer. Like you can never replace that. Like never. It's never gonna get old.
Well, the thing about it is with crowdfunding, they do bookmarks, they do magnets, they do trading cards, they do,
Mhm.
they're producing beanies and
Oh yeah,
t-shirts and
I know. Yeah.
figures and all kinds of stuff. So how do you see CG going? Do you see it climbing? Do you see the independent? Do you see that this is the way to go with the crowdfunding? Or, I mean, how
Um,
do you kind of view what is the health of CG since right now, in your estimation, since you've been in it? You know,
Okay,
where
since I come back into CG, I think that there's two kind of people on CG. There's kind of like the uh, internet personality fan, which can buy beanies and all that stuff. I
right?
mean, so there's kind of like
Hey, Stephen.
yeah,
Mm.
there's people that actually just want to be fans of some YouTube personality and will buy anything, right? So that's
Right.
cool if you can sell a comic, but they will not, they will take maybe they will treat the comic as a beanie, as shirt, no, right? Like it's not like a comic for them. And you have the comic book fan, which is in here for the comics.
Yeah.
So the way I think it's gonna go is that the West, the way of the West is pretty much like you have to be kind of like this cult of personality. So you have to don't hate the player, hate the game. Like that's the game, that's the rules. So
Yeah.
I don't mind the people buying for internet personalities. But if you want to sell to comic people, you will have to have um, all these other fans, even if they are not fan of your comic. That's still money that goes into making your comic, and that will eventually get into the hands of the comic crowd.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way it is right now. I think it's gonna be there like that for a while. You're gonna have to be on YouTube. Your book alone, it's not gonna sell. I'm very aware of that. You have to be kind of this internet personality, but it doesn't.
Well, you
That
also have to
doesn't.
get the work done, Jose.
Yeah, you have to work.
You have to
Yeah, I mean,
allow, you got some that devote more time to their channel than to actually to getting their
Hey,
book out.
Rick, Jose, sorry guys. I just I got something going on. I gotta go.
No
Sorry
problem.
about that.
We're getting
nice
ready
meeting you,
to
Shadow
wrap it
Hawk.
up anyway. Jose
All
said
right. Well,
I can.
if you want to get together later or something, Rex, just
Okay.
hit me up or something. Jose,
All right.
great to meet you, sir. Sorry I gotta run, but
No problem.
hopefully I'll catch you soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
catch you
wrapping
soon,
it
Shadow
up
Hawk.
anyway. I have to go to work myself, Jose, here in about you go clock in about 15 minutes, and you were
Yeah, so
very
let's.
gracious to give us about 2 hours when
Yeah,
you. But it's very interesting. I hope that you will consent to come back at some point here, and
yeah, for sure. If you have
and
me, I'll be happy to.
you bet. Yeah, I was uh, glad we could get you on short notice.
Yep. No,
That
thanks
you
to
were
you,
able
man.
to.
Thanks to you, Rex.
I'm looking forward to getting your book and looking forward to actually sitting down and reading some of it.
Can't wait to hear what you think about it. It's a wacky story, but I really
Hey,
hope you
Belma.
enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Any final thoughts? I want to give you the final word.
So what can I say? I'm back into CG, back Lumina box right now. If you're right there, the indie comic book scene, it's a great place to be right now. Maybe it's not the one we want, but at least it's working, right? Like some years ago, the best
Right.
funding comics didn't even break 5 figures. So right now you have smaller campaigns breaking like three
That's
to
true.
$10,000. So I'm
That's a
really
good point.
appreciated. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm really appreciate that right now. Even smaller campaigns, their kind of metric of success. It's what was kind of like the high standard like 5 or 6 years ago. So that hasn't been blind on me. I mean, I take notice of that, and I'm very grateful for all this
Mhm.
crowd, for all the people making all these projects, and just take a look at the past and be grateful for what we have right now. And we can make it better. Of course, we can make it better, but it's gonna take work, and we have to be willing to work both on streams and both making comics, both drawing comics, and it can be done, guys. It really can be done.
Good word.
Yeah,
Kiss your lovely child and wife for me, and tell them thank you for allowing us this time with you.
I will. Thanks a lot, and
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
thank all of you. Yeah. Take care, Jose.
See ya. Bye. Bye, chat.